We are here with our SEC insider, Matt Zenitz. We're going to talk about this Auburn football team as we head into week 2 of the season and start to kind of look ahead to week 3 against LSU. So my first question for you is we're going to talk about Gus Malzahn. He gets the contract extension, he's got more confidence, and it showed up in this game against Washington. Some of the aggressive play calling. He even joked after the game about that 2-point conversion that failed and said, you guys like that, right? So what are your thoughts on his play calling and his confidence level coming out of this football game?
I think it's a combination of both things. So I think that if you talk to people in the football world, that and we've heard it already, just that Gus seems more at ease right now than maybe he's been in the past. But I think it's also just a product of him being as confident as he is in this football team. Has a lot of confidence in the players that he has to work with, and I think that partially lends itself to go along with just being more at ease to some of the play calls that we saw during the course of that first game, including the 2-point conversion that, as you pointed out, didn't work, but still an aggressive play call, and respect the aggressiveness that it took to make that.
Yeah, and his mood in that press conference afterwards, it was all smiles, Gus, obviously.
That was a great win for him.
Yeah, great win for them, pointing to his offense, because I think there were some question marks in that regard. Obviously, the defense came out and performed. Are there still some concerns at offense? And I think the answer to that question is yes, and what are those concerns?
I would say number one, offensive line. That is, I think the biggest, or was the biggest concern for them going into the year, just that offensive line that had to replace so much, obviously, from last year. And the offensive line's still a work in progress, which is to be expected at this point. But if they can get that offensive line to a good point, and if that offensive line continues to grow and improve, they have the talent offensively, obviously led by Jarrett Stidham, to do some real damage offensively throughout this season.
All right, Auburn up next for them, Alabama State, and then it's on to week 3 where they host LSU. LSU getting a big win over Miami, 33-17. So you kind of got to look ahead on that. What are your expectations as O comes to town, and what does Auburn really need to key in on? Okay, we know the penalties. That was a huge part of this. They had 12 penalties, 111 yards, so that's a big area of concern. What else do they need to focus in on to try to clean things up and get things ready for that week 3 matchup?
I don't like sounding repetitive, but I'll go back to the offensive line.
Yeah.
So offensive line is really number one thing for me with Auburn, and just takeaways as far as that first game. And obviously the running game, which Gus has talked about, wasn't the level that they wanted to be at, and want to see continued growth there. And I think that will come if the offensive line continues to grow and improve. And at the same time, if that happens, you'll see more time for Jarrett Stidham, and give him even more of an opportunity to make some plays with some of the weapons that they have. And then defensively, so I think as a whole, the defense was good against Washington. It's important to keep in mind that the Washington offense they faced is probably one of the top offenses in college football. Jake Browning, one of the better quarterbacks in college football, and they faced a very good team, a very good offense. So I think it's to be expected that you're going to give up some plays against.
And I think that's something a lot of people forget, that Washington is a good team.
A terrific team. Was ranked in the top 10 for a reason, and a terrific offense also, but cutting down on some of the big plays that they allowed in the passing game, I think will be an emphasis moving forward. Obviously allowed several big plays in the passing game to go along with the pass interference penalties, that more of them than I'm sure Gus would have liked. But this team's in a good position, showed just during that win over Washington, and this is a really good team that's capable of making some noise throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, and I'm definitely anxious to see how that O-line progresses, because Jarrett Stidham told me before the game that he is more confident in this O-line at this point in the season than he was a season ago. And he says J.B. Grimes, pointing to him, team chemistry, he feels like that unit has a lot of great chemistry. So it'll be interesting to see how they grow across the board. It'll be a good matchup at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Of course, for all your Auburn Tiger updates, you can visit us on AL.com.
A luxury store in Homewood, Alabama that's reviving the finer things in hunting and fishing.